welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Samari. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my journey to applying for grad school and some tips that I found successful that I want to share with you all. So to give you all a little bit of context of what is going on with my life, in the fall I will be attending the Florida State University to pursue a Master's of Public Health. It is a 2-year program and I'm extremely excited to start fresh at a brand new school and get another degree because we want those degrees. Hey. My end goal in life is to practice medicine, but I found out I was graduating early, late, if that makes sense. So I found out I was graduating from USF a year early, only mid-semester last year. I wasn't ready to apply for medical school. I wasn't ready to take my MCAT, and that's when I realized hey, this is the perfect opportunity to pursue my Master's of Public Health because I always knew I wanted to get it. I just didn't know when would be the right time in my life to do so. I applied to 4 schools. I applied to USF, which is my undergraduate institution. I applied to Florida State University, which is where I'm going. I also applied to the University of Miami and the University of Florida. I am so blessed to say that I got into all 4 schools. I'm extremely thankful. I ultimately decided I wanted to go to Florida State University because that's where I would be the happiest. I knew I didn't want to stay another 2 years at USF. I love this school, but it was time for me to go. I just needed a fresh start. UM was way too expensive and I kind of didn't want to move back home. Love my parents, but I was just I wasn't ready to go back to South Florida. And then it just came down to University of Florida and FSU, and I decided that FSU was where I felt like I belonged. So that's how all of that turned out. So let's get started in terms of applying. The first step to applying, or the first step that I did, was take my GRE. I took my GRE September 10th. And I gave myself up to 3 weeks to a month to study for my GRE. I studied using the Kaplan study book, and I got it off of eBay. I think it was $30. I don't have it to show you all because I gave it away to a friend so that she could use it for her GRE. But I used that to study, and basically I just went through all the skills. I went through all the strategies that they suggested, the practice problems, the practice exams, and I took it and I got an average score. I got a 150 on both sections, which is 50th, 55th percentile. It was good enough to get into grad school, so I wasn't taking it again. But in terms of taking the GRE, I would definitely say give yourself enough time to study for the GRE. I am not a very good standardized test taker. I don't like standardized tests. So I gave myself about to a month, and I felt that was it for me. I felt like I was literally frying my brain trying to study for the GRE. Some people it may take more time to study, some people it may take less. So just kind of figure out where you want to go. I've heard people take a practice test first to see where they're at and to base their study time off of how they score on that practice test. I think that's a great idea. I never did do that. I just kind of went in for it, and I kind of just gave myself 3 weeks to study, 3 to 4 weeks maybe, I don't know, I can't remember, and I took it. That was it. The GRE cost $200, so while I'm talking throughout this video, you're gonna hear me refer to prices because applying to grad school is so expensive. No one has, y'all just don't even know, it's so expensive. But it costs about $200 to take the GRE. You can send your scores up to 4 schools for free, and then for every other school it costs $30, and I think to retake the GRE it's $100, and then to change your test date is about $50. So kind of know what you're doing, what you're getting yourself to, when you want to take it, and yeah, because you don't want to be paying all those extra fees because it's not it. So the next thing I want to talk about is SoFast. So SoFast stands for something public health application system, something with an S. Basically that's the common app that I use to apply to public health programs. The most frustrating, I don't want to say frustrating, you will find that when you're applying to grad school it's a lot different than applying to undergrad. So when you apply to undergrad, you apply to the school and then you pick your major. Great, cool. When you apply to graduate school, you have to apply to the program itself, and then you have to apply to the actual graduate school itself. So I applied to the public health programs at the 4 schools I wanted to go to using the SoFast common app system, and then after I completed my SoFast and I submitted it, then I had to complete supplemental applications to get into graduate school for USF, FSU, and one more. And UF. So I had to complete the supplemental applications. And it's like, usually if you get into the public health program, you will get into the graduate school. It's almost two separate entities. So I just kind of wanted to forewarn you on that. I used SoFast to apply to the public health programs. And SoFast, I loved it. The only thing that I hated about it was the prices. Like, I think I paid $235 to apply to 4 schools using SoFast, and then I still had to pay for the GRE, and then I still had to pay for supplemental applications. So applying for grad school is not where it's at in terms of money. But if you can get over that barrier, I promise you it's very fulfilling. So when you do SoFast, you'll make a username, you'll make a password, and then you'll put in all your personal information, your background, stuff like that. And then you will put in like your undergraduate experiences, so like leadership experiences, research, anything that you did while you were in your undergrad years. And then you will go into each school and then upload like your personal statement, your CV, and then any supplemental questions that that specific school has. You'll pay for it and then you'll submit. Great. Perfect. You'll also upload your recommendation letters, or you'll send it out so like your references can like put it in there. I don't even know what I'm trying to say word for it. Anyway, so after I did SoFast, then I went into each school that I applied to and did the supplemental application, and it was about $30 each. And that one's, it's relatively easy. Like, you just have to get into the grad school. I don't know why they do that, but it's just kind of like a thing you have to do. You just go in, you put in your information, you pay the application fee, you send in your transcripts, and then you're done with that. And so in terms of tips, I would definitely say give yourself enough time to apply for grad school. Like, you're giving yourself enough time to study for the GRE, give yourself enough time to apply for grad school. I applied early because I kind of knew where I wanted to go. I knew I didn't want to go out of state for grad school. I knew I wanted to stay in state, so I kind of knew which schools I wanted to apply to. And I knew that I wanted to give myself enough time to prepare my financial aid, to find an apartment, to find an assistantship, to kind of figure out what I was going to do with my life. For some people, it doesn't work like that. For some people, they find out like they are applying for grad school literally in May, and like they want to start in the fall. If that's you, give yourself enough time to prepare all your materials, because you're going to need recommendation letters, you're going to need transcripts, you're going to need your personal statement, you're going to need to actually apply, and you don't want to run out of time before the application deadline because you're scattering around trying to get everything together. So make sure you give yourself enough time. I applied early, it worked out for me, but for everyone else it might not work out that way. So that's that. In terms of personal statement, so your personal statement will not be perfect on the first draft. I wrote my personal statement 10 times, at least 10 times, because I wanted to make sure it conveyed who I am on a personal level and on a professional level. I really want the admissions council to know my story, know what challenges I faced and how I overcame them, and what I can do to improve their program or how I'll be a benefit to their program. And so I wanted it to be perfect. And I think my personal statement was like the piece of my application where I was most proud of. It wasn't my GPA, it was like my personal statement. And I applied to grad school in like September, October. I found out where I was going by like November. But I didn't start my personal statement until July. So from July to literally like September, October, I was still crafting my personal statement. That's how it is for a lot of people who apply. Like, your personal statement is not going to be perfect on the first, second, or third draft. It took me 10 times for mine to be perfect to who I am. And sometimes I'm still like, oh man, I should have added this, or I should have added this. But at the time it was like perfect to me, so I went ahead and submitted it. Give yourself time to do your personal statement. It really takes patience. It's really a craft, so don't rush it. Don't do any of that. Also have someone look at your personal statement. So for me, I had my mentor who is at Columbia University Med School right now look at my personal statement, because he has that experience applying to a professional school and he has that experience writing a personal statement, so he kind of knows like what they're kind of looking for. I had him look at my personal statement to make sure like I wasn't missing anything, or like if there was something substantial in my life that I didn't put in and I needed to put in. And then I had my supervisor review it for like grammatical errors and so forth. And then after I did all of that, then I typed it into Google and had Google like read it out to me, so that like all the words that I had in my mind were what Google was saying to me. And I think that's such a great tip. I use it whenever I'm writing like a presentation, I'm writing a speech, I'm writing a paper, I always put it into Google and I have Google read it to me. You are able to like pick up on like the mistakes a lot quicker if someone else is reading it to you and instead of you reading it to yourself. So that's all I have to say in terms of personal statement. It takes time. If you ever need someone to look at your personal statement, I always leave my email address in the description box below. Don't be afraid to email me if you want a fresh pair of eyes to look at your personal statement. I just ask that you send it with some time because like I'm trying to graduate. I'm taking 17 credits this semester, so I don't always have like free time on my hands, but I will always get to your personal statement. Graduate school application is all about time, so when it comes to your recommendation letters, give yourself time. While I was studying for my GRE, I also sent out emails to my professors, my supervisors, and my mentors. I sent out emails to anyone who I knew I wanted them to write me a recommendation letter. Usually you will have 3 recommendation letters, one from a professor, one from like work, so I asked my like RA supervisor, and then one on a personal level, so I asked like my old high school teacher for a recommendation letter. So those are like your 3 recommendation letters. Some schools may require more, but usually it's 3. For me it was like 3 for across the board, so I only did 3. Ask ahead of time. I would say ask at least a month to 2 months early, as I did mine at the beginning of the semester when the semester didn't pick up. I asked for like, I gave them like a month to do it, and like I had them back within like 2 weeks or so. But every teacher has a different course load. Every teacher has life going on outside of school, so like give them ample amount of time. When you're sending an email asking for a recommendation letter, give context so they know like what to write about. So I always sent my CV, and then for every email I'm like, hey, I'm applying to this and this program at this and this school. This is how the program will benefit me, and this is how I will benefit the program. So they know what they're writing about, and they know like, okay, she's going for this and this. So you want to make sure you give them as much context as possible. I always included like the deadline in my personal statement, like, hey, this is when this application is due and so forth, so that they know like, okay, I need to give it to her by so and so. After like they write your recommendation letter, always say thank you. After I got into like grad school, I sent emails to my professor, and I was just like, hey, like I want to let you know like I got into this and this school. Thank you for so much writing a recommendation letter. Like, thank you for taking the time out of your life to invest in my future. Like, greatly appreciated. You want to be like kind, cordial, and maintain a good relationship, because you never know like if you're going to pursue further education and ask for another recommendation letter in life. So make sure you always leave a positive presence. So that's it for recommendation letters. Let's see what else I wanted to talk about. Be wary of your online presence. A lot of graduate schools will search your name in Google and see what they can find. So if you have had like a shady past, like pictures or like statuses that don't reflect you in the most positive professional way, put your account on lock or take them down, or do whatever you need to do so that graduate schools cannot find that, because that can be like an ultimate factor in deciding whether you get into their program or not. They are not going to take someone who's going to be a negative reflection on their program. So just make sure like everything is clean. I knew people who put their account on private while they're applying for grad school. I didn't do that. I felt like my account was like, all my accounts reflected me in a good way. A lot of things that like came up when you search my name in Google is like YouTube stuff, and like I wanted to display my YouTube because I feel like it's a very creative platform, and that's how I share like my personal advice to you all. So I was fine with like my online presence, but if you don't know what's on the internet about you, Google your name and try to clear it up. Just trying to make sure everything looks good and clean and you're representing yourself in a positive, professional way. Another tip that I want to share with you all is having a backup plan. So when I was applying, I knew I wanted to go to Florida State. Knew I kind of didn't want to go to USF, but I applied anyway as a safety net. And so when I got in, I was blessed, thank God, I got into my top choice, but that's not the case for everyone. If you know you have a top choice, apply to that school, great, put your all into that application, but have a backup plan. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what the admissions council is looking for in terms of the dynamic of that cohort. So just make sure you have a backup plan. Let's see, always ask questions. At Florida State, there's a staff member named Sam, and he kind of oversees the whole admission process to getting into the public health program at Florida State. And when I tell you I bothered Sam so much, he probably hates me low-key, but it's okay. I literally emailed him with so many questions to make sure like my application was right and I did it like perfectly and it had no mistakes. I just wanted to make sure like everything was smooth. So if you have questions, whether it's a small question, ask, because you never want your application to be disregarded or to be delayed, deferred. There you go. You don't want your application to be deferred just because you made a simple mistake and you could have asked about that earlier. I asked questions. Even now I still talk to him to this day. I'm like preparing what classes I'm gonna take in what semester. Like I'm asking like about assistantships and stuff like that, how I can be involved within the program and stuff. So always ask questions. I mean, they're there to help you and to make sure like you are a competitive graduate school applicant. So don't like lose out on the opportunity to make your application stand above the rest. I think that's it. I hopefully covered everything that I wanted to cover. If you have any questions about applying for graduate school, a lot of these tips are like helpful to like even if you're applying for internships and stuff like that. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments below, email me, share this video with anyone who's going to be applying for grad school within the upcoming semester. I hope it is very helpful to you all. If I missed something and you want me to talk about it, like my GPA and stuff like that, I didn't mention it, but if you want to know that, also ask me. Thank you all again so much for watching this video. I hope it was very helpful to you all. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're new to my channel, hi again. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Subscribe button is down below, and for everyone, I will see you all in my next video. Mwah.